all here. This meeting of Wednesday, March 13, 2019 is now called to order. Is there any public comment?
Good morning, judges and commissioners. We have some documents to go along with our testimony. My name is Gloria Gillman. I'm the chair of Philly Neighborhood Networks. I'm a committee person in the 2nd Ward, and I'm here from the Protect Our Vote Coalition. Today we will present evidence that 2 commissioners were candidates throughout the voting system procurement process. This made them ineligible to serve during this process and made the vote on the contract legally invalid. Last week we told you that it was common knowledge that Commissioners Deely and Schmidt were candidates. It's a farce to pretend otherwise. Deely filed her paperwork the day after the vote. Schmidt filed his paperwork a day later. They did not decide just then to run. Deely hired a campaign manager in early February. The Republican Party obviously knew Schmidt was running, or they would have recruited someone else to run instead. But there's also a legal standard. Section 1102 of the Pennsylvania Ethics Act says that a candidate is defined by receiving a contribution, making an expenditure for the purpose of influencing your candidacy, or taking necessary actions under the law to be qualified as a candidate. They took necessary actions to become candidates. They filed their campaign finance reports. They contacted Judge Fox prior to February 20th about appointing their replacements. They had to organize signature gathering operations. They only stopped short of filing the final paperwork. They also received campaign contributions and expenditures. Their 2018 campaign finance reports show that Deely received $85,000 and spent $31,000, while Schmidt received $57,000 and spent $21,000. For comparison, Commissioner Clark, who's not running, listed no contributions or expenditures. Deely and Schmidt's campaign donors include many individuals and political action committees. Their expenses range from event catering to printing and graphic design. These contributions and expenditures made them candidates under the law. The potential for conflicts of interest is exactly why Section 301C of the Pennsylvania Election Code exists. You see, the commissioners are not like other officials who may raise and spend campaign funds while staying in their positions. Section 301C is a special provision specifically for commissioners. They must immediately be replaced to remove the potential for conflicts. Doesn't matter what advice they receive or if it's been done that way in the past. The law is clear. They were candidates who should have been replaced. They were ineligible to serve as commissioners and ineligible to vote on February 20th. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Kevin Scoveland from Citizens for Better Elections, the Protect Our Vote Coalition. We have evidence that Deely and Schmidt were candidates. Among Commissioner Deely's campaign expenses in 2018, she paid $10,000 to L. Perry Group, which, quote, provides consulting and fundraising services for political campaigns. There were 9 payments beginning in January. The principal, Lindsay Perry, organized Deely's fundraisers. Here's an invite that Lindsay Perry posted on Facebook for a Deely for City Commissioner fundraiser on March 29, 2018. It's also in your packets. It includes suggested contribution levels, information on how to contribute, and a link to Act Blue, a campaign contribution website. At the bottom it says, paid for by Deely 15. Here's a similar invite for a fundraiser on April 29th. There were others. This is a request from Deely for financial support toward my campaign efforts before the December 31st campaign finance deadline, an important date for showing the strength of a candidacy. On January 24th, 2019, while voting systems were being considered, an invite for a campaign fundraiser on February 20th was posted. On February 12th, a Facebook event was created for this fundraiser, and Perry asked for contributions on Act Blue. On February 20th, the same day as the vote on the contract, at the same time that Commissioner Deely was introducing the vote, Perry posted a reminder for the fundraiser that same evening. The venue was booked ahead of time. The invitations were printed ahead of time. Ed Rendell was invited and agreed to attend ahead of time. In fact, here's Rendell's endorsement on Lisa Deely for City Commissioner campaign stationery, dated one day before the vote on the voting system contract. Schmidt hasn't been as obvious as Deely, but the expenses in his report show that he held similar campaign fundraisers last year. As candidates, they had conflicts of interest with every part of the process. Under Section 301C of the Election Code, they should have been replaced to remove any potential for conflicts as soon as they began receiving and spending campaign funds. What kind of potential conflicts? Commissioners Deely and Schmidt both accepted campaign contributions from Triad Strategies PAC. Triad Strategies is the lobbying firm representing ES&S, the winning bidder of this contract. These commissioners were candidates for office and deeply conflicted when they cast the only 2 votes in favor of a voting system contract. They voted on the very system to be used in their own election. This is a substantive violation of the law.
It's been nearly 3 minutes. I want to be fair to all.
Last statement. We ask that you make a motion at today's meeting to invalidate the entire process and to begin again with the legal, ethical, fair, and transparent process that best value procurement requires. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next speaker.
Good morning.
Morning. You on TV?
Yeah, you might remember me. Yeah. So again, my name is Emily Chico. I'm an organizer with March in Harrisburg, and I'm representing the Protect Our Vote Coalition. So my prepared remarks are 2.5 minutes long. Let's take a breath here. You know, there is a way out of this mess that you all have been left with. What we're asking is that the current board votes to invalidate the February 20th vote and withdraw the deeply flawed RFP, instruct the procurement office to cease negotiations on this contract, and immediately begin a new RFP process, which follows the best value procurement as it was intended. After the vote is invalidated and a new process is initiated, we're asking that the board immediately begins to organize public demonstrations of the voting machines to give residents of Philadelphia the much needed opportunity to participate in this fundamental decision about our democracy. There is time for all of these steps. The directive by the Department of State requires selecting a new voting system by the last day of 2019 for use in the 2020 primary. It was only the commissioner's conflict of interest and their desire to start campaigning that set such an earlier date. By Commissioner Deely's own estimate, there is enough time. She wrote a letter to City Controller Reinhardt on February 19th, which said, moving the target to the April 2020 presidential primary would only extend the selection timeline to July 2019. July 2019. We believe that reviewing the plans from a neutral point of view would reveal that an even faster timeline is possible. Montgomery County's preparations are taking just 5 months. What we ask that you don't do is nothing. By doing nothing, you're affirming a deeply flawed, undemocratic process. You know, there is a $25 million gap between the funding proposed by the mayor and the total amount that the commissioners estimated that this would cost. Proceeding will expose the city to potential lawsuits, including high damage lawsuits by non-favored vendors. There will be irreparable harm to residents, to the city, to the Commonwealth, and to the country if you take no action. The clock is ticking and there will be a point when a change of course is no longer possible. We ask that you are a leader and that you set an example for all of Pennsylvania and defend Philadelphia's democracy by taking action as soon as possible by making a motion to nullify the vote, withdraw the RFP, and end the current contract negotiations. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Next speaker.
That's all that we have.
Good morning. My name is Desiree Whitfield, and I am a resident here in Philadelphia, PA. I have numerous questions after reading the various articles regarding the voting of the voting machines. My number one question would be, we talk about the number 45 election, but we're doing the same thing here in Philadelphia. First of all, you cannot be a commissioner and a candidate at the same time. Just like number 45 had to resign his position to be a candidate, so should our commissioners here in Philadelphia, PA. My first questions to you would be, by law, what is the date when candidates have to retain themselves if they are running in an election? That means commissioner on down to sheriff. My number 2 question would be, if this voting was done on a particular date, when does candidates have to let the Philadelphia area know before they are given petitions? Petitions was given out on February the 19th, and they were accessible on the online before February 19th, which means that your name is on the various petitions. So therefore, with all of these questions being asked, the question is, what are you, the judges, going to do regarding the voting of these machines? Everyone can clearly see that it was illegal for commissioners who were also candidates to vote for something in Philadelphia. It's clearly illegal. This is not the time to have inside meetings. It's a time for Philadelphia to stand up and say, we will not have this. I am here because this bothers me, because it is happening in the city of Philadelphia. I am asking for that vote to be annulled, and the city of Philadelphia have a chance to know what was voted on, number 1, and number 2, to say whether or not our commissioner, Lisa Dilly, violated the state ethics board by doing 2 things, voting and being a candidate. It is clearly, there's no other evidence that you need. That she had a petition, and she voted for a voting machine. Don't turn your head to Washington, turn your head to Philadelphia.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Ms.
If there's no other public comment, then we'll turn to our supervisor reports.
Good morning, Commissioner, Your Honor. For today's meeting, March 13, 2019, we received 15 alternative ballots.
Yeah, some of our cards have all been entered, right? So they're up to date with those too. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.